ILL, a short play by Lizbett Benge. Characters: Lizbett, daughter, 4, 5, 11, 20. Yvonne, mother, mid-40s, suffers from mental illness. Grandma, mother to Yvonne, early 60s, enabler. WIC attendant, public health employee, female. Mrs. Odom, first grade teacher. Bank patron, wealthy Indian man, mid-30s. Alvaro, cook of Chilean and Mexican descent, mid-30s, interested in Lizbett. Time, present day. Thoughts and feelings of inadequacy, shame, and ridicule flooded my mind as my turn for show and tell approached. I had nothing to show or tell. Maybe I could bring the stray kittens my mom brought home the other day. I was so excited by them. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I decided I wanted to bring them with me to class. It was during this time that I became acutely aware of the fact that my mom, me, my life, it was somehow different from everyone else's. What was normal for me was sickening and obscene to others. Why are you asking me this? You want those fucking kids to touch our kittens? Our cats? I don't know what else to bring, Mom. No one else brought their pets. Maybe I can be the first. What was I thinking? Everything inside me told me not to ask her, not to plead with her to bring them, not to bring our home to school with me. What if she got angry at the teacher or at a student? What if, like she did so often, she attacked someone because they said something inappropriate? I knew in that moment that I was ashamed of my mother. I knew I couldn't control what she was going to say or do because she lived in a different reality and I wasn't tapped in. I was scared she would be violent and angry. I was scared she would hit me in front of everyone. But I asked her to come, and she did. I think she did it because she wanted to be normal, but knew that it was so far out of her reach that all she could do was bring our stray kittens to class. The class reacted nervously to my mother's presence as she shook and plopped the box of kittens. I could tell in the teacher's face that she was intimidated by this grotesquely overpainted woman entering the class. She wore no bra and smelled of cheap imitation perfume. I could see my mom was depressed. She was having another episode. All I could think about was getting these kittens out of this box so that everyone would no longer stare at her and judge me for all of her abnormalities and ugliness. My mom was a fleshy, voluptuous, and sensual woman. Her breasts were always exposed, and she talked of sex as if it were groceries, just another part of the everyday list. A woman like her, with all of her size and presence, if you got on her bad side, she would kill you. I imagine that in jail, she had many enemies. I saw her with my grandma when she was at the jail in downtown Seattle. I didn't particularly care to see my mother after I was taken from her. My grandma was always working towards having some semblance of family, some morsel of normalcy, and so she forced me to see my mother, although I never wanted to. My grandma Laura had a particular affection for my mother that I never understood. Even while in jail, my grandma made sure my mom got whatever she wanted. Hi, Mom. How are you? They have me in this fucking place. Goddamn fuckers won't give me a goddamn thing. Where are all of my men? Mom just tells fucking lies. They're all lying about this. So, what do you do all day? Oh, my baby, Lizbett, you're so beautiful. I think about my babies, and Mom always tries to take everything that is mine. Don't let her take you from me. Take me where? I'm here to see you, not talk about Grandma. Hey, do you want to hear what they're playing on the radio? What are you listening to? Turn that shit off. I don't want to hear some fucking jigaboo. Liz, hey, turn it off. Your mother said to turn it off. Don't make her mad. What? I just wanted to show her what was on the radio. I said turn it off. If you don't listen to me, we're both getting kicked out of here. What? What did I do? I'm not talking about how to escape. They let me bring it in. I have to go. Tell them I'll be out soon. Who? They're all hungry for me. They miss me and my twat. You tell them Yvonne still tastes like pussy. Okay, fine. I don't want to come back here. And don't you listen to Mom. My mom hung up the phone and signaled to the guard to take her back to her cell. She moved like a cow through mud as she left the window and passed through the multiple corrections officers. Glad that was over. The whole thing perplexed me. I saw the guard at the booth listening into our conversation, but he didn't tell me to shut my radio off. Why did my grandma take my mother's side? What? They didn't like the music? I was visiting my mom in jail for prostitution, and somehow Jay-Z was the completely inappropriate one. The guard didn't even terminate our visit. It's not like I was sending coded messages about drugs or illegal activities. I wanted my mom to feel like she was outside again. I could tell she was hurting. She didn't have her men, and she didn't have me. I just wanted to bring her something meaningful, and in a way, beautiful. I went to the WIC office after hearing I was pregnant. I told the woman working there that I could use some counseling services. They followed protocol and proceeded to ask me why I thought I needed counseling and how much of a threat to myself or my baby I might be. Well, I think I might have postpartum depression. Why do you feel you're at risk for PPD? Because, I don't know. I think a lot of people in my family have dealt with depression, and I just don't know how to be a mom. I need to deal with things. The woman's eyes glazed over, and she looked at me as if I were some immature, inept, young-minded fool. I was the reason why WIC offices existed, because I didn't know how to be a mom, but I'd spread my legs and gotten pregnant, and now have the nerve to ask for help? They give you a check for $10 in fruits and vegetables, and a check for peanut butter, cereal, juice, milk, and the whole grain option. Thank you, WIC, for shitting on me. I worked at Foot Locker again, only to find myself at the WIC office because I had no idea, no food to eat, and no idea how to deal with the reality that I was pregnant. The WIC attendant, with her half-assed smile and low brown ponytail, proceeds to invalidate me. Well, we can set you up an appointment with someone if you feel like you need to talk. They're gonna put this on file. Now the state has documentation that I'm afraid I'm gonna become depressed after the baby's born because I don't know how to be a mom, because I never had one myself. But I did have one. She just wasn't the one I wanted. She wasn't the one I needed. Every other mother figure I had in my life couldn't be to me what Yvonne could have. She was my flesh and blood, the woman who brought me into being, but she could have never been what I needed her to be. Regardless of how many pills she took or drinks she had, she would never be better for it. All the mind-altering could never put her back right. She was Humpty Dumpty, and all her personalities had shattered into a million pieces, fragmenting her life and her interactions with all those around her. I'm told several stories of my conception, each one a bit more unbelievable than the next. As my mother walked along Alki Beach on a day late in August, an acquaintance greeted her. They stopped and chatted, and this man offered my mother some cocaine. He offered her an entire ounce if she slept with him. She accepted, and they made love on the beach. My mother took her reward and sold it for a generous profit. This man was my father. As my mom walked along Alki Beach on a late August day, an acquaintance she had met previously greeted her. He was friendly and invited her to walk with him near the water. After accepting this offer, the acquaintance walked hand in hand on the beach with my mother. As she sat near the edge of the sand where the pebbles met the waves, the man came up behind her and bashed her head with a rock. After hitting her 3 times, he pretended to lay with her near the waves as he raped her unconscious body. That man, Gary Ridgway, was my father. Yeah, I know your father, Lizbett. I met him on the beach. I walked along Alki Beach in August, and I met Clark Theodore V. He was in the army. He was a general. They all served in the military, all the men in his family. They died, too. Yeah, he was a good fuck. He took me on the beach and made love to me. He came inside me and told me he loved my pussy. I heard it all before. The truth is, she might know. But I'm never gonna know. And I really stopped caring. I stopped caring after hearing that my father was a rapist and murderer. I stopped caring after hearing that my father was a drug dealer. And I stopped caring when I became familiar with the saying, like attracts like. I figured if all these men were anything like my mom, I wanted no part of that. I love you. Yeah. Love. She said she loved me. My experience of love was quite different than how I imagine other people come to know love. The first time I understood what an abortion was, I was maybe 7. My mom was pregnant with twins. She was 38 and her body couldn't withstand birthing another 2 beings. I wasn't in the room with her when they told her, but I learned she would die if she didn't abort. My mother was no stranger to death. She was such a strong and spirited creature. Years in Western State Mental Hospital, corrections facilities, group homes, halfway homes, and countless bodily afflictions later, she still stood. Her posture was rather terrible, her back bending like a twig in the wind. But I imagined her like an impenetrable fortress, the Fort Knox of females. She was square and solid, intimidating, and big. My mother was huge. She was probably no more than 5'7", but she was dense, and her breast extended far past her frame. Her hair was brown and coarse like a Brillo pad, and created a giant fan around her face. Her eyes were hazel and very almond-shaped. I might almost say they were pretty. Her top lip was thin, with a much-defined Cupid's bow, which formed her upper lip into the shape of a heart. Her skin was olive, and she wore garish pink makeup to further accentuate her features. To think, she would have been lost to the world if she brought these 2 twins into being. Maybe for her, that's what she wanted. She was so fixated on children. She wanted so many children and dearly loved each child she came into contact with. Such enthusiasm reigned over her body at the prospect of being fucked. She kept no secrets. I always knew her desires. She wanted men, and she wanted children. Jealousy swelled within her at the sight of women with their burgeoning bellies or small crying infants. I never shared her joy. Instead, I felt fearful and incompetent around babies and children. All I knew was that once they're old enough, someone comes and takes them away because you aren't good enough to have them. Yeah. You always want to fuck my men. You took my husbands and you made them lick your cunt. She hated my grandmother, but she needed her. My grandmother enabled her to continue her life of dysfunction. She only played nice when she needed groceries or extra money. She drank a lot of beer. Wine coolers were a favorite. She's always had a sweet tooth. And like clockwork, Grandma hands my mom a small wad of cash. Now, Yvonne, this has to last you until the end of the month. I don't have anything else. Mom, I just need enough for Lizbett. I only need coffee and bus fare. Yvonne, this is all I have for you until next month, okay? My grandma was always doing this. Why did she give her money? I hate it. She knew damn well where the money went. If it didn't go to alcohol, it went to drugs. Or went to some damn store selling porcelain fineries and bric-a-brac. My mom loved gaudy and ornate antiques. For some reason, they stuck to her. There was meaning and status embedded in the dated figurines and plates my mother bought. I remember her collection of antique porcelain dolls, all of whom were milky white, dressed to the T's, and somehow emblematic of her 8 children. The state took us from her at different points in our lives, but she lived as though we were all within arm's reach. She favored me, but only because I was convenient. I was under her watch, and thus subject to her misguided affection and care. To get an abortion, I had to go back to where my childhood started, where my earliest memories were formed. White Center. How funny. The same area where I waited in line with my mom every month to pick up our booklet of food stamps was where I had to return to stand in line to kill my baby. I had to take a pee test and sit down with a public servant to discuss my options. For me, there was only one option. I couldn't keep this baby. All I wanted was the medical coupon they gave to women requesting an abortion. My grandma's advice was for me to look poor when I went into the DSHS office, or else they wouldn't give me anything. Liz, whenever you go in there, know they look at you. They see what you're wearing and who's with you. They let those Mexicans and minorities have all the benefits, so we have to be needy too. You have to fight for it, and that means looking and playing the part. Sometimes people need help, and I don't care who gets what. Why should I change anything about myself because I'm going to some damn office? The proof is in the pudding. Why did I have to look poor? I was poor. The only things I had now were gifts. Oh, get gifts, mostly from older men. Gifts. A diamond ring, a juicy bag, and money deposited into my bank account. A trip to Hawaii, a laptop, iPod, iPad, makeup, perfume, gift cards, Jordans, North Faces, a digital camera, literally thousands and thousands of dollars. And for what? I'm always asking myself, for what? I didn't have to sell myself, and I never even touched any of them, but for some reason, they liked me. They said they loved me. Why do these men always find me? The first stranger to give me a large sum of money was a wealthy Indian man who would always come to the bank I worked at. I would laugh and joke and put on my grown woman act when I came to work. I think he saw right through me. He saw that 16-year-old girl working at Washington Mutual with all her naivete and resilience. That is a beautiful ring. May I see it? So, what can I do for you today? Just a deposit today. You know, you have such a bright and sunny disposition. I love coming to see you. Why, thank you. If anything, I at least try to smile. And you're so good at it. You know, you deserve something that matches that beautiful smile. Oh, are you really saying I need braces? No. I'm saying you don't need to wear that fake cubic zirconia. You deserve a diamond, a real diamond, to outlast your own bright and sparkling light. Well, I'm not too picky. I'm not a huge diamonds, flowers, chocolates girl. But you're too kind. Thank you again. Yes, my smiling beauty. I will see you again. Okay, take care. See you soon then. I would wear that fake cubic zirconia band on my wedding finger, partly because I was left-handed, and partly because it kept inquiring men away. It only seemed to attract this one even more. The next week, he stopped by my station and dropped off a gift bag. We exchanged no words, and I quickly hid the bag in my cash drawer. When I looked inside the bag, he had left me a signed picture of himself, along with 3 mini liquor bottles of Grey Goose, Patron, and Captain Morgan's, and a blue jewelry box. As I opened the box, to my surprise, there was a ring. It had a smooth silver band and a princess-cut diamond set at the middle. Now, why the fuck would this stranger buy me a diamond? Why would he lace the gift bag with alcohol and leave an autographed portrait of his old self in this bag? Was I supposed to get drunk, look at his photo, and yearn for his cold, hard cash and touch myself till I was shaking in pleasure for him? Not too long after I quit WAMU, I took a job as a hostess at a restaurant. I befriended the dishwashers, the cooks, and all the servers with ease. There was one cook who was interested in me. He was quite a bit older than me, but he was funny and oddly handsome. I don't remember how our 8-year pretend relationship started, but a couple of months into my tenure at the restaurant, Alvaro told me he wanted my number, and so, for whatever reason, I gave it to him. Okay, lady, give me your number, maybe sometime we hang out. Really? Okay, I guess. It's 206-380-8819. Wow, you really give it to me, huh? Okay, I take you out. Wherever you want to go, you let me know. What do you mean? Take me where? Wherever you want to go. This weekend is el Día de San Valentín, so I'll meet you somewhere and you can have a gift. Okay. I have to take the bus, so I'll just meet you in downtown Seattle. We met downtown the following day, and Alvaro insisted that he buy me a gift for the holiday. Buy whatever you want. Let's go where you want, mi princesa. Buy something. Get something beautiful. Oh, yeah? Okay. Let's go this way. Lo que quieras, mi amor. You can have whatever you want. Te prometo. What? I had never been told to just buy whatever I wanted. I never had money to just pick something up and buy it. Was he offering me this because he expected something in return? Could he sense that I never had genuine love from someone, or that I wanted things because I had never had any? Did I accept his proposition because my mother had always seemed happiest when men showed interest in her, and I was raised to value the same? Was it Alvaro that could fill the void that so loudly screamed, "Hey, look at me, I'm worthy, I'm waiting to share my love, I have something to offer"? In first grade, my teacher, Mrs. Odom, would set aside a corner of her chalkboard and label it the dog house, complete with drawings of a dog composed of 3 circles with 2 teeth and a matchbox-looking house. When you were bad, Mrs. Odom would write your name under that dog house, and you would be publicly shamed for the entirety of the day. Mrs. Odom put me in the dog house when I wouldn't comport myself. Mrs. Odom, look, now we can't do anything. Lizbett, please sit down and wait patiently as I finish with Jaylene. Make it stop. What's wrong? Come help me. Are you dying? No? That'll be enough then. It's just so bad, and I can't think or do anything. Mrs. Odom, it won't stop. That's it. You're going in the doghouse. She drew my name below the paws of the dangerous dog, and I could picture its bite puncturing my skin. No, something's wrong. It sure is. Now you go on to the nurse and you tell them that I suspect you have lice. Not only did she put me in the doghouse, but she humiliated me by sending me to the nurse's office and publicly announcing I had lice. In those next 20 minutes, I learned I was dirty, unclean, stupid, and that I couldn't come in contact with another person for fear of spreading my social degeneration to others. The fat bugs feeding off my scalp and populating my hair were emblematic of the life my mother created for me. A mother's love is supposed to be sacred, untouchable, through and through. She relinquishes full ownership of her body so that you may have lease to it. She endures as her body grows and morphs, and her needs shift to include you and your burgeoning being. All of this is supposed to equate to love, a bond more powerful and profound than any other sensation. I don't think I love my mother. I'm not sure if I ever have. She surely made it clear that she loved me. She smothered me. She fetishized me. She made my life the focal point of her existence. Each of her conversations somehow implicated my existence. All of her fantasies and delusions were somehow linked to me and her men. Yvonne always wanted kisses and hugs, and for me to tell her I loved her. I think she knew that I thought she was ill, and so she pretended even more to be normal. Her normal was schizophrenic and bipolar. She had multiple personalities, and even they all made me the center of attention. I would hear how much I meant to her, how precious my life was, but I could never feel it. Somehow, her words fell flat. How in the world she ever managed such an all-consuming, yet detached relationship is beyond me. We were close. She would have us be too close. A mother and daughter are never supposed to be that close. Let's go. We have to go. We're gonna buy you something beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, Mom, I wanna have something beautiful. My mother and I walked into town and went to the Vietnamese shop where she'd seen beautiful jade bracelets, pearl necklaces, and gold rings. She made it clear she would buy me whatever I wanted inside that store. More than anything, I wanted what she promised. Something beautiful. I was overwhelmed by the feeling of inferiority that accosted me as I entered that jewelry shop. I was unworthy. How I longed to have something beautiful while all around me life was so ugly. At 5 years old, I still slept in her bed because I was afraid of what lay in the shadows. There was nothing more frightening than the dark. She was in her early 30s and still didn't know how to drive and never held a job. There were a lot of things she never taught me. I never learned to ride a bike or skateboard. I couldn't roller skate or do a cartwheel. I confused my right from my left and had no knowledge of any sports. I lacked the ability to swim, and we never had a TV at our place. What I did have mastery over, though, were words and numbers and concepts. I was artistic and pliable. I could adapt myself to any situation and act accordingly. But I did long for something beautiful. I couldn't fake beauty. Baby, I understand that this decision does not come lightly. It's Sunday, December 20th, 2009, and tomorrow I'm going to terminate you. I know this comes with heavy thought and deep consideration for the circumstances at hand, and I don't want you or me to feel any remorse for the actions and events that are about to occur. The situation is one that's not ideal for any party involved. Your father is Luis. Luis is not capable of having a child. He's immature, does not know how to communicate, is abusive towards me. He doesn't know how to love, and has a horrible relationship among his own family, is a habitual liar. Perhaps some of these things I can tolerate and deal with, perhaps even forgive, but I can't forgive a lazy, educationless, unmotivated, emotionally cut off person. Luis cannot communicate his feelings or thoughts and lacks emotional depth and critical reasoning skills. He feels having you would make him a better person and force him to change his ways. Unfortunately, this is not the way the world works. He doesn't understand this. I, by all means, could do this myself, but due to my own parental circumstances, I want to provide you with every opportunity possible. This includes having two parents who get along, respect one another, and are on mutual grounds about their children. This is really important to me. Luis treats me like shit and constantly disappoints me. I can't handle that, and neither should you. I'm a junior in college, and I have to finish school. Absolutely have to. I have a free ride, and I'm doing so well. Grad school will be 10,000 times harder. Traveling and living would just become a strain, especially because I'm afraid of the problems you would likely encounter. I want your father to be clean, sober, intelligent, and caring. It's not like I knew how the world worked. I just knew I wasn't ready. I couldn't do it. How could I possibly learn to love this child on my own? I needed so much help, and I was so raw, cut off, emotionless. I would go to class each day thinking to myself, if anyone knew I was pregnant, or if anyone else in the room was going through the same thing I was. Luis had broken and beat me, and I hated him for it. He was just like my mom, but I know he didn't really love me. He just loved the sex and the fact that I was smart, but I was too smart. I was smart enough to know that I lacked understanding of my upbringing and its effects on me, and how that would play a significant role in my child's life. Whatever love my mother felt for her children, I felt nothing. I wanted whatever was inside of me to be gone. I wrote that letter because I was genuinely afraid I would regret the decision to abort. What if this was the first person who was capable of loving me? That fact alone makes me feel less of a woman for being selfish and valuing my life over anyone else's. They beat her bloody. I never saw it, but my grandma told me about it. I told my cousin. She didn't believe me. The police beat and battered my mom. They went at her with nightsticks and pepper spray and even the rubber bullets. I'm telling you, she is a hard woman to stop. Once you're marked, she's coming after you, and she won't stop until she has your head. She would always hear things incorrectly, and I would suffer the consequences. She took me to the bank with her so that I could withdraw some money on her behalf. At 4 years old, I acted as her payee and guardian. We'd like to withdraw $45. What did you tell her? You think she's better than me? No. Shh, Mom, hang on. Just get the money and we can go. Not until you apologize to me. I am your mother, and I brought you into this world. Yeah. How dare you tell some other woman she's better than me? Did she feed you? Did she die for you? No. Mom, stop. You're embarrassing me. Okay, thank you. You can give the cash to my mom. We have to go. Tell me you love me. I do. I love you. I'm sorry. Let's go. What? You loathe me? No. Shh, quiet. Let's go, okay? We left the bank and my mom remained silent all the way home. She was breathing deep, hard, and fast. I knew her mind was racing and she was out for blood. Her face changed and I knew it was over. Her eyebrows melted into her nose and her lips grew thin and taut. She approached me. "Pull down your pants." In the middle of the living room, I slowly undressed myself and stood bare-assed before her. She went to the kitchen as I began to weep. "I love you, but you have to learn." She grabbed a metal spatula and hit me across the back of the thighs. I cried out in fear. I jumped and tried to run. She grabbed me and threw me against the wall. Her hot and heavy breath pervaded my senses as she blasted me over the ass with the spatula. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I was sobbing in terror on the ground, unsure if she would ever stop. 9, 10, 11. Just take me away. I'm sorry for everything. It hurt so bad. My butt and thighs were raw and tender. 13, 14. I think that's it. God, she looks so tired. Let her be tired, please. There. I'm sorry I had to be so mean, Lizbett. Look at you. Come here. Of course I went to her. It hurt so bad. I didn't want to make her unhappy. I needed her. I needed her love. It never paid to argue with her. Damned if you do, and damned if you don't. That's how it was. She did love me. Every week, the only way she knew how. She made a mark in the world. She found a way to exist in this world despite her illness. No one could take her space and rob her of herself. Can I have a banana, please? You can have one, but bring it with you over here. Okay, thank you. Bring it here. Let me open it for you. I hesitantly brought the banana forward to my fat, naked mother, perched atop our severely bent queen-size bed. Why was she being nice? She was never this nice. It was only when she wanted something. Now, Lizbett, my daughter, I love you. You have to love me back. I do. Thank you for the banana, Mom. It looks so good. Yeah. Do you love me? Yes, I said I do. I was fearful in that moment because I knew if I said love, she would hear something else or twist my words and hurt me. I had to take care for her, or at least pretend I did, because no one else would. Here, I'll open it for you. She peeled the banana for herself, studying its length and subtle curve. She caressed my hair with her heavy olive hand. On your knees. I got on my knees before my naked fat mother. She swung her leg around me, positioning me between her thighs, with my head staring squarely at her privates. She handed me the banana. Love me like all my men love me. But I said I do, Mom. Now you have to show me. Yeah. The hardest thing about my mother was that she didn't understand she was sick. She could never take responsibility for her actions or ever provide me any closure. If only she was just coherent enough to understand my pain. How do I have a family? You never gave me anything. I can't do anything, and I feel like I will never belong because I don't know who I am. You're Lizbett Georgine Monet Benge. You're my daughter. I made you. You came from me. But that's just it. Fuck you. I came from you, but not you alone. Where's my father? Damn it, just a name, a photo. I swear. Can't I just see the two halves so I can be whole? He's Clark. I told you. In Everett, in a trailer. No, you say the same thing every time, and that's not him. He doesn't exist. He's probably some Joe Blow from the mental health center. Why do I feel so crazy? I don't want to be you. I'm not crazy. You watch your mouth. You are a liar. I know your grandmother told you to say those things to me. I say it because I think it. I'm resentful and ashamed of you. I hurt because no one ever listened to me and gave me what I needed because they were too busy caring for you. I gave you everything. You gave me everything wrong. I defended you to my brothers and sisters and cousins. I told them you never hurt anyone and that you weren't a bad person. But you did. You hurt me. And you know what? I suspect you hurt them too. I never hurt you. Those men hurt you. They raped and molested you. They always wanted to steal my children from me. They got all of them. They took all 8 of my babies from me. Why? Why 8? You created these people, but they exist in a vacuum. We want nothing to do with one another, and it hurts. And I can't have a single healthy and fulfilling relationship. You have me. I am your mother. Yes, I know. I know. How dare you talk about me? You're right. I don't want to. I want you to go away. I hate you and what you've done to me, but I can't just wish you away because you live in me and you are a part of me, and that frightens me. I can't. I never say I can't. But I can't take back what you did to me and the why, how, when, and where. But I can leave you in the here and now and go somewhere where people see me for me. You are always my daughter.